Hey everyone, welcome to another segment of Vital Statistics. I'm Shemetris Vital, and you've guessed it, there's no time like the present time. The present time finds us still in chapter 35, but guess what day it is? It is day 315. I am actually 50 days away from turning the page onto chapter 36. How about that? Well, today I experienced an ultimate frustration that ultimately led me to a great revelation. I want to start off with the scripture that says Proverbs 4, 1 through 13, but we're only going to pay particular interest to verse 7. Verse 7 says, and I'm not quoting any particular Bible version, but it says, with all thy getting, get what? Get an understanding, right? Right. So on today, and of course now I realize that God really wanted to teach me a lesson, and I did post it on Facebook because I was totally frustrated. So I was in a meeting, and during this meeting everyone was asked to present their questions. Nothing wrong with that, because everyone has a question and everyone wants an answer to their question, correct? Well, what ends up happening when it is my turn to ask the question, then all of a sudden there's all this kind of harassment and joking and all this kind of stuff. And I'm a little frustrated, but I keep myself calm and I still ask my question, even though it really wasn't answered, because then I got the answer was, well, you should already know this. Well, after the meeting was over, I left in a great frustration, almost slammed the door into the wall, but thank God, there is mercy, and I didn't. And so a friend asked me later on, she was like, what was wrong with you? And I left and I went and calmed myself down as I walked down the hall, and I went to the restroom and was just like, Lord, you got to speak to me. And so immediately he tells me the reason you felt the way that you felt is because we've got a whole nother generation that is feeling the same way. And so why do I say that? Well, what he showed me was, in my frustration of just wanting my question answered and why I had to be harassed and made fun of because I asked a question, is that everyone asked a question not to be made fun of or harassed or talked about. You ask a question simply because you are seeking an understanding on your level. I remember a long time ago that they used to say, no question is a dumb question. The only question that's a dumb question is the one that's not answered. Okay, so why is it that now we've turned things into that if you ask a question, it is okay for me to harass you or make fun of you? We've got a whole nother generation that basically has been silenced and have stopped talking to people and stopped asking questions because of things that I dealt with. Because people don't want to answer the question, or either they want to harass you for the question that you asked. That makes no sense, and it's not right. The Bible backs up my very explanation that it says, with all thy getting, get an understanding. So that means that, to me, what that says, that if you are in a place of authority, that means that somebody trusted you in that place of authority to answer the questions. If you have to answer a question 10 times, 10 different ways, then guess what? You were the one that was respected to be in that position and expected to answer the question. It used to frustrate me that when I was in the classroom, I'd hear teachers complaining, I had to explain this 10 different times. Well, of course you did. You have 30 different students and everybody learns differently. I think we need to think about this just a little bit more, because we have another generation coming up, but we have silenced them. We ridicule them for asking questions, but then when they don't ask questions, we get upset, and then we're upset with them because they've gone out and done whatever it was. And then you say, well, you should have known better. How am I going to know better if you're not willing to teach me? In fact, how am I going to know better if you're not willing to answer my questions or even listen to what I have to say? That was my frustration today, and I'm sure you can tell by the elevation of my voice that it really frustrated me, but I know to the point and to the extent of my calling and my purpose. And I am so an advocate for youth and young adults, because things have got to change. I remember telling you guys a long time ago that now understanding my purpose, and of course with the whole why not wait and the abstinence and all that kind of stuff, that Mark 11 and 12, I believe, that it says that the kingdom suffereth violent and the violent have to take it by force. Well, with the abstinence and with everything else that I know that I have been called to and for another generation, I'm ready to take this demon by force, because we have a really bad thing going on right now, and it's not cute, it's not funny. The enemy has certainly entered the camp, and he thinks that he's taken over, but there's a couple of us that are ready to fight, and I am so ready to fight. And at this point, with all thy getting, get an understanding. And I hope that this helps someone, that if you're called to be in a leadership position and you are the one that's in that position and people ask you a question, don't harass them for asking the question. Allow them to get an understanding, because all they're seeking is understanding on their level. I'm Shemetris Vital, and this is another segment of Vital Statistics. Remember what I say, to be the difference and make the difference, because the difference is in the change you choose to make. Stay tuned, because I do have a radio show coming up starting October the 2nd on WESLradio.com. It is out of St. Louis, but I look forward to blessing you guys, because this is so for the youth and young adults of today. So I will be answering questions. I'll be talking about issues. But until then, be the difference and make the difference. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.